Go live, go live. Alright. Say the truth.
Say the truth. Alright, so we got two perspectives going on today. We actually have, we're on Chris Candid and we're also on Candid Poetry. So we're trying out some new technology today. So, just bear with us. Do we hit the record button on this one?
You gotta put hashtag shade or truth. You just put shade.
Okay, you want to put hashtag?
Yeah, I've already shared it on my page.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not.
Hashtag, bro.
You gotta put hashtag.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm behind time now.
It's all good.
Oh, I ain't even plugged the mic in.
See?
Get the mic on, man.
Get your mic on.
Hopefully you
Facebook
can hear it. I got it. Can you hear it? Turn your volume up. Let's see if you can hear this thing. Testing 1, 2. All right.
I like that. Say, you can't really. I don't like the fact that he the only one on TV though.
Oh, it's all right. I'm coming.
You'll be able to pan.
All right, so hey, it's your main man Chris Kennedy. I'm hogging up all the show right now with new technology.
Hey.
So you got to bear with us, but I'm gonna go ahead and get it together. I'm gonna go ahead and get everybody on the screen right quick. Boom. Here we go. Look at the sound. You see yourself?
Oh, I'm about to go back. I gotta look at this. Hold on a second.
The technology is it moving fast? Is it streaming slow?
We got at least 4 views.
All
We're
right,
coming up.
So yeah, we getting it together, y'all. So
Shoot, you put me on the screen, we might go up to 20.
Yeah,
I'm just.
we done upgraded now.
Oh, so you popped up too, huh?
Yeah.
See how you adjusted it down? He was about to get our neck up.
Got Taylor Walker in.
I like this. You see the new one? This is us. I like this, Chris.
You like that? All right. Oh, you can turn it down now.
All right.
Gonna get a little bit of feedback and whatnot. All right. And like always, start off with theme music for those getting ready.
808.
All right, so I got the gibberish today, so I'm gonna lead everybody in to the show today. This is Chris Candy, and this is the Get Candy Show. Y'all clap it up.
You want more too?
Yes, please.
Yes.
All right. So today we're going to be talking about a few things. We're going to start off with relationship talk. We're going to actually do a little bit of religion, and we're going to do a little bit of wealth. So some good topics. I'm hearing echo. Let me see. Let me come down. All right, I'm going to get the camera off me. All right. So please introduce yourself. We're going to start with him.
Sean Nitro Nix, Mr. You Can Get It Too, pastor, cage fighter, motivational speaker. I'm internationally known, and I'm known to rock the microphone. Anyways, hit me up, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Nashawn Nix, or go to Google, hashtag You Can Get It Too, and it pulls up all my social media outlets.
Yes, and I'm Javon Williams, aka Mr. Rep Your Brand. I'm the CEO of the Rep Your Brand Fashion and Talent Expo. Also, JAX Up, which means Jacksonville Young Urban Professionals. Also, I'm the CEO of Swayed Out Entertainment, and hip hop artist too. We doing a lot of big things around the city. We have an event coming up in November at Top Golf, but y'all hear more about that. I'm here for Shade of Truth. Let's get to it.
All right, so as we start off the day, got a few things we want to get into. I don't know if you can read my handwriting in here. Because I can do it if you can read it. The first topic we're going with is relationship.
Okay. Um,
We in here.
All right, so
We
with relationships, all right, I'm just gonna start off like this. The best relationships are based on looks. Shade of truth.
Shade.
Okay, shade. So do you believe it
I
helps
mean,
your relationship?
both.
Okay.
Yeah, cause hey, looks do play a factor.
Okay.
Yeah, looks do play a factor, but it ain't everything.
It ain't everything. What say you, Michelle?
Looks help get your attention,
Yes.
Okay.
and conversation keeps you engaged.
Yes.
So I think possibly in that order. I've never been attracted to someone that I've never seen.
Right.
So that's how I would take that.
Sure.
yeah, I think they're very important. You gotta give a look at that person. And, we're visual people, so.
You ever see like a couple and you be like, he looks way better than she does, or she looks, and you be like, how did that happen?
Mm-hmm. We know how.
Look, ain't no.
We know how.
But how do you get past the looks if that's the case? Do you be like, okay, maybe something else is better?
He was drunk and happened upon it and was like, oh, okay.
Sometimes,
Oh, this ain't bad.
hey, sometimes money comes into play too. I mean, if the person got money, or they a person of value, that could be an attractive trait for some people.
Oh, dear.
That way.
So.
Yep. I don't think there's some females they've never seen a bank account they didn't like. You know what I mean?
Right.
Never seen a.
You hear me?
What
Right.
did he say in 444? What did he say?
Said something about me.
But money make you cute.
Hey,
Yeah, something like he ain't never seen an ugly millionaire, something like that he said.
you hear me?
So it's not necessarily a good relationship because it's how it happened in the first place. And when somebody better comes along, do you jump ship or do you say I got good enough?
Yes. Let me stop being silly.
I mean, if you ride or die, man, if that person that held you down while you ain't had nothing, I mean, I think you'll be a coward just to, up and run. But a lot of men do that.
Grass
all the
is
time.
greener.
Think the grass is green on the other side, and
It's not.
hey, you feel me? It's really not. So I mean, that person that was with you, when you really didn't have, that's that person that's gonna be with you through thick or thin, like period.
Right.
So that's the person I'd rather have on my side.
Don't see my ones, don't see my guns.
Exactly, because if I'm with somebody that's just here for the money, if I fall, you know what I'm saying? If I don't have it one day, she gonna be gone with the money. So,
Right. So you saying, and this don't have to be current now. We can go back in time. Nobody get in trouble. But if you say, well, you know what, I got looks, or would you lead? Would you entice a female with the fact you have money? Like encourage it?
Say it again.
Like would you entice? Like would you say, hey, you know what, I'm such I have such money? I mean, would you?
That's kind of lame.
Would you leave with that?
No, that's lame.
That's
Mhm.
Well, no.
That's
hold
lame.
on.
Because if you got money, they should be able to see that. You shouldn't have to make no announcements about that.
What an announcement is, all right, this is my jewelry. The announcement is, this is my car. The announcement is, yeah, let me take you over here to where I live. Like, that's,
Still
Like-
a
like-
Look
like I
at
said,
me, look
like-
at me, look what I got.
yeah, unless you're Floyd Money Mayweather, then you carrying a little duffel bag.
He got to be the lamest person in the world.
He don't have to announce
That's
it.
all he does.
He don't have to announce
That's
it.
all he do is talk about how much he got, don't
But just
It's a different level.
Hey, but
You got it, huh?
you 50 and no.
he? You can talk it, huh?
You can talk it.
I heard that.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody gonna shut you up, so you can do that.
Y'all on a test deep. Anyway, all right. So let's talk upbringing. Like, so, are you better in a relationship if you have example of parents, or can you say I see it on TV, or you know, does having a good upbringing make you have a better ability to have a relationship? Say the truth.
Shade. Because sometimes not having that gives you the drive to want it for yourself and to do better than your parents did, or to do better than, have a better relationship, see their mistakes. So I think that's shade.
I think it really depends on the person, to be honest with you, because I mean, person like myself, I didn't grow up with, a mom and dad consistently in the household. So, but right now I'm just like she said, I'm trying to be a better role model for my children right now.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side, I do have siblings or people that I know for real. They
didn't follow your example.
They didn't follow that example. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it really depends on the person.
Like just a matter of choice.
Yeah.
I think it's helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Because for a young man to see his father treating his mother in a respectful way, the way that, and taking care of her, that's helpful. Same thing with a woman, being able to see her mom, nurture and cater her father and do the things that she's supposed to do as a wife is helpful. But I wouldn't say that it's mandatory. I wouldn't say that you can't have that or you can't provide that if you don't see it. Because, like you said, it's a learned behavior. You see it and you learn to do it.
I would like to add to that. I mean, sometimes it's harder for a person that haven't been in the household with, with that example of a mother and father. It's kind of harder. You kind of learn by trial and error. So but as long as you continue to strive to get there, you're good.
Right. The reason I said that about the upbringing, because a lot of times it hasn't really pertained to relationship all the time, but people talk about that a lot of not having a role model or not having a father there, and so it's almost like there's a lack of this and a lack of that because that person isn't there. It could be, some could say an excuse, or it could actually be true.
Both.
Yeah.
Now, when I look at relationships, I know one of my coworkers. She refused to marry a man who did not come from a family where the mother and father were still married. She refused to marry someone who came from a broken home. Like, she had preconceived notions, like she had a made up mind what type of husband she wanted before she started dating. You understand what I'm saying? So, and she stuck to her guns in that aspect. I will say that it is true that when you come from a healthy, functional family, that's what you're going to pursue, is a healthy, functional family. And I don't think, for a lot of black folks that I know, we come from a lot of blended families, and when you come with blended families, that's blended issues, there's blended baby mamas, there's blended baby daddies,
Yes.
there's blended children, you ain't my dad, you know what I mean? Like, so, under normal conditions and normal circumstances, I would say maybe you don't have to, but with our people and, the communities that I deal with on a regular basis, it's not the norm. Meaning that dysfunction breeds dysfunction.
Mm.
You know, and
Because you can have a couple that's been together forever, they're still married, but they're dysfunctional. I don't know what, the dad's beating the mom, and so the sons see that and they beat their wives too because they think that's the way to go.
Right.
It's a, you
It's
know,
normal for them.
it goes both ways.
Yeah.
That's why I said it depends on the individual and what they want for their family and for their life.
But like I said, if you're conditioned to a certain behavior, you're going to be able to handle that. Like I said, like when you look at domestic violence, African American households outnumber all other nationalities in America pertaining to domestic violence, domestic partner violence. So, like we typically look at domestic violence as husband and wife, but they ain't always married, so they changed it to domestic partner violence because it's so repetitive. And like I said, that goes into some deep-rooted issues. And is it Chapman or Chaps? I can't think of the author right now, but the 5 love languages, it talks about, you know, being able to identify with different love languages as far as husbands and wives, and even when it comes to social relationships, as far as friends, co-workers, colleagues, being able to identify people's love languages. But I think it's, if you come from a home where that is pre-established, this is the role of the woman, this is the role of the man, this is the role of the husband, this is the role of the wife, I think you're going to be more apt and receptive to carrying on a household under that, you know, guideline. You know, but that, like I said, that's my 2 cents.
Now, let me ask you this, can having, let's say arrogance, can arrogance be a problem in a relationship? Like
well,
being too, you know, into yourself, I don't know what you say.
Well, I would say it can be, but like I said, you don't know the other person's temperament and tolerance. Like I said, you know, some females, they think that type of stuff is cute. You understand what I'm saying? And then, like I said, some females are very insecure, and vice versa. There are some women that are absolutely dazzling, but then their counterpart isn't up to that level, and they feel inferior. So, like I said, I mean, it works for certain individuals. You know what I mean?
Right.
Denzel Washington and his wife, like I said, I very vaguely or rarely hear about his companion. You know what I mean? You know, like I said, you got somebody that's a superstar, and then you got a companion that who is that? You know what I mean? We saw her in Harvey's. We'll walk right by her. You know what I mean? You know, we saw her at Walmart. Like, oh, there was Denzel Washington's wife. I don't. Like I said, I wouldn't recognize it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think it's. But then again, for us as blacks, not trying to spend too much time on this. When we look at slavery, our relationships were dictated to us. We were told what we liked. We were told when we liked this and when we liked that. We were taught how to have relationships or relations without relationships. Like those are like deep-rooted generational patterns that have followed us since slavery. Like I said, we're still learning how to love ourselves. We're still learning how to love our mothers, you know, our fathers. Like I said, there's a lot of things that we're working on. You know what I mean?
Right.
I went to go see my daughter in school today, and the teacher says, "There go your daddy," and she didn't run to me. You understand what I'm saying? And they're like, "Why is she acting like that?" I said, "That's how she is.
Right.
You give her 15 minutes, I can't get her off of it. You understand what I'm saying? But I know my child. Like I said, but if you don't know my child, you would think that'd be a form of disrespect. But because I know my child, I know what to expect.
Right.
Now, 15 minutes go by, girl, you better get over here and give your daddy some love. You know what I mean? Some love or something like that. But like I said, it's just different things that we're learning, and we're
Okay, let me mess with Tara right quick. You said something about lane. Now, if you think about how men are raised, we have older cousins and brothers who pretty much teach us to like men and women. You know, I don't know, for most cases, if you had an older brother or somebody, he was like, this is what you do this, do this. He didn't say this is how you have a monogamous relationship. He didn't say that. He didn't have that conversation at all. And to that person probably was, to that type of thinking, they probably would say a straight up relationship is lame. What do you say to that?
What you're asking? You asked me for relationship is lame?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh.
Why do people try to say, I don't like the lame word period, honestly, because it really is saying it's not good to be like smart, or it's not a good thing, because that's not
No, that's not
really
that's
what,
not the context in which I use lame. I use lame in the context when you said about when you talked about a person talking about this, you know,
no, not
showing
so
off.
specific. I'm talking about the word now. Lame. Lame, the
Yeah.
word lame, not what you specifically said. I said because you chose the word lame.
So what do I think about the word lame?
Yeah, like why does society? I mean, a lot of people want to go with people who are cool, and when some people say cool is what you see on TV. And you see on TV, they're doing drugs, they're doing drinking, they're having all these women.
No, to me, cool is being comfortable in your own skin, not having to put on airs, not having to be seen or show off. To me, being able to walk into a room and not open your mouth and command attention or command someone's respect, that's, you know, to me, that's key. Not going in having to be the loudest person or be, you know, making a big scene. Oh, look at me, look at me. To me, that's
Do you think there's a problem with society in lame work? They talk about smart people as being lame.
No,
Well,
smart people.
They lame for thinking that.
Smart people.
Exactly.
Smart people not lame though. Smart is
Yeah.
popular now. It's popular to be smart. If you look at the
Oh,
kids in
you
high
right
school,
now.
if you look at the kids in high school,
Sorry,
the most popular athletes are the
No.
smart ones. Yes.
Come on, teacher, talk to them.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Well, like I said, I deal with students who have been labeled ID. ID is an acronym for intellectually disabled.
Intellectual.
Well, like I said, you know, I didn't give them that title.
Okay.
But I was telling you about the society that we live in.
Okay.
So when I'm dealing with students that have preconceived notions that they can't learn and that they're ignorant and they'll always be stupid, like I have to deal with other things. You understand what I'm saying? I gotta deal with the fact that, you know, this dude does not know whether he's a thug. He doesn't know correct grammar. He can't not control his emotions. He cannot articulate a complete sentence.
Right.
So, like I deal with a lot of defense mechanisms, and like I said, it takes me about a good 3 to 4 months to actually get to know the students before I can make a good assessment of the students. But from what I've seen, we deal with so many defense mechanisms because the students that I work with, it's all about survival. And when I say that, like I said, rep your brand, he's comfortable in his skin. Like I said, people ask me, why are you always wearing your stuff? Because it's my stuff. God told me he was gonna make my name great, so I wear my stuff. But everybody doesn't have that same mentality. So, like when we look at our children with the sagging pants. Now I sagged when I was in high school, but then I was like, man, you know what? Shoot, I can't get the job I want doing this. You understand what I'm saying? But like I said, I did. Listen, I was #1 stunned.
No.
Yes, I was. As a matter of fact, if you would have called me back in 1999, shoot, you might have checked the voicemail. You might have checked the voicemail. Voicemail said 00 stunner. Shoot, I almost joined the DC Hot Boys. But anyways, I'll leave that alone. That was another life. Hallelujah. But what I'm getting at is we dealing, like I said, when we look at lame, all right, lame means that you're willing to be outside of the norm from what I get from the youth. They're willing to stand, they're willing to be an individual. All right, when I deal with students who have a twist in their hair, why do you have that Kodak Black got that? Why you got locks? Because my cousin got locks. I gotta find some form of assimilation so that way I have a group to be a part of. Oh, I'm Blood. Oh, I'm Crip. Oh, I'm Ops. Or I'm whatever the terms are right now. You know what I mean? I'm cutthroat or whatever you want to call it. Like there's like right now, our youth, they're starving for an identity. in my opinion. They're starving for an identity. They're not getting validation at home. The community has glorified criminals, but they don't have a criminal heart. You know what I mean? 'Cause like I said, if you want it, I give it to you. You know what I'm saying? I get off at 4 o'clock. You know what I mean? If that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But your mama sent you to my class so I can teach you. So, but what I'm getting at is, make a short story shorter, the objective is that when I look at Lane, I'm looking at someone who has the confidence to be their self. But our society does not recommend you being yourself. Society recommends that you find a group or an association that you can find strength within that number. That's what I get. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm looking at. So if I see Lane, I'm looking at someone that doesn't mind standing out.
Okay, so I think then that lame has its own definition determined on who's using it and the context in which they're using it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the same across the board.
It ain't. It's a multi-purpose word.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And to me,
Definitely.
you have to be confident enough, because if somebody calls me lame, I might tell them you're right. I am. You know, so it just depends on the individual that's using it and the individual that's receiving it.
All right. If y'all like in my family,
Mm-hmm.
I'm square.
Square, green, lane.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that.
I'm square. Like, hold on 1 second. All right. Hold on. What do you mean I'm square? When your daddy was getting high, and when my mom was getting high, we were all at the same house
In the back room.
in the back room, trying to wait for them to get done so we can go home. You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about? I'm lame because you don't get high.
Mhm.
Why do I want to do what our parents did that didn't work for them?
Mhm.
But I'm square.
Right.
I'm square because I don't drink. Hold up, what do you mean? Hold up. Look, I didn't see my
police.
yeah, I've seen people go from laughing and joking together.
Yeah.
You true.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when people have been laughing and joking together, listen, this is a true story. Brothers and sisters, first cousins.
Mhm.
Now y'all stabbing each other, and we gotta call the police because of this liquor.
Right. Right.
This liquor has destroyed our family.
Right.
But I'm square because I choose not to partake.
Right.
But I'm just saying, so the substitute lane for square, I just want you to understand, like, oh man, leave him alone, leave him, like, hold up, I want to go to family functions. I'm not going to judge you, I'm going to love you.
Mhm.
But once again, I'm square to them because I don't partake in that. You understand what I'm saying? I feel like some of my cousins are the best blunt rollers in the world. Do you hear me? Listen, I'm just saying, if you ever need a blunt roll, I got the best blunt rolling cousins in the world.
8-7 is over there.
I don't know his cousins.
But
But in the grand scheme of it, though, everybody is lame in some circle. Even the coolest guy is gonna be lame in another circle that's doing something completely different. So first of all, you gotta be strong enough to not let words don't define you.
In the eye of the beholder.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
Hell no.
Exactly.
Hell no.
Exactly.
All
You gotta
right.
be stronger than that.
Definitely gotta be strong in that. All right, so one more on relationship before we get into religion. If we kind of touch on upbringing, but if your papa was a Rolling Stone, we don't really talk about. We don't really talk about mothers as much, but realistically, some mothers was rolling too. You know, you got daddies, you got kids from different daddies. And all that kind of stuff you didn't know. You know, I was a victim of, I thought I had a daughter type thing and all that. That was from a woman. But if you if your parents, you know, were cheaters, are you suspect of being a cheater? Or you are suspect of being a cheater? Say the truth.
Shade.
Hereditary.
It's a decision.
I'm gonna put it like this. All right,
Genes.
I'm not gonna say it like that. I'm gonna put it like this.
Okay.
It's called survival, Chris.
Okay.
It's called survival.
Talk to me.
Like I said, You got baby daddy number one, that Negro get locked up. Who's gonna pay these bills? Baby daddy number two, that Joe get locked up. Who gonna pay these bills? So like it's a matter of it's survival. And like I said, I hate to say it like this, but our people have not been properly educated on mate selections. So we think temporary assistance is a great mate selection. Whoever can help fit this need right now is the best candidate for the job.
Right.
Make the hood great again.
Okay.
Hey, I need the stamps.
Yeah, need the stamps.
Yeah, cause
She got stamps.
Yeah.
We gonna eat good.
Yeah, we
Shoot,
gonna
Or
eat good.
she easy and she'll give it up. So let me go ahead and go with this
Yeah,
easy
I
option.
mean, sometimes they got their different women for different, or they got their different men for different, problems. One on the handyman, one on,
Joe the
you
plumber.
know what I'm saying? One on the plumber that can lay pipe and, and really,
Right.
for professional and
He can lay the pipe, but he doesn't have the other things.
right, yeah, so, yeah.
That you
Like a job,
Stuff like that.
a
So,
career,
right.
Teeth.
tax return.
So she'll put up with that.
Yeah, one on got them good benefit. Probably military, you know what I'm saying? Well, I seen a lot of that though.
Military is.
Boy, I seen a lot of that, boy, in the
It's all about the
military,
beast.
boy, they get down, boy, in the military. Man, if you get married, like you meet somebody in the military, you get married, the success rate, man, drops dramatically.
Yeah, what is it like 80% divorce
Man,
rate?
yeah, about 80% divorce rate in the military. Like, and some of them just be getting married just to get stationed with each other, and then found out that they ain't compatible. They don't really like each other like that. It was just that visual attraction at first, but then their attitude jacked up for real. Like they messy. They ain't never lived together. Once you live with somebody, you really find out who that person really is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You find out they cleaning habits and stuff like that. They ain't a clean person.
You might have the pet peeves or something like that.
Yeah.
They don't really jive in with you there. So that brings the point of compromise.
Yes. What are you willing to?
What are you willing to put up with or accept, and what is too much? When are you compromising too much?
Well, like I said, I don't know any relationship that's not give and take. That's business, personal, professional, relational. Like I said, it's all give and take, Chris. Like I said, I'm always going to defer back to whatever I said at the beginning. We, specifically as black folks in this country, we have not been taught how to cultivate and work together through struggle. My great-grandfather and my great-grandmother, she just turned 100 several months back, right? I did not know that my great-grandfather married her when she was 16.
Yeah, no, that man, no.
All right. They were married 70 years before he died. So he was 20, she was 16, but they were married for 70 years before he died. Like that's how they were wired. You understand what I'm saying? So they didn't have social media back then.
Oh.
They didn't have like I said, you know what I mean? They didn't have speed dial, you know what I mean? So you go back.
And they had better morals, just say it.
Yeah, better more, but like I said,
Just
they
say
did,
it.
but they had each other.
They had each other, they had better morals.
All right.
The community was different.
And
The women were different.
Oh yeah, and they had desegregation.
Mm-hmm.
They had desegregation, which means that, all right, you depended on your people once again for survival. But once you start sharing mixed philosophies, different, like I said, this is before crack cocaine. Like I said, if anything, you were running liquor. That was the thing with running liquor back then. But it's not, like you said, the morality and the social, and not social, but the moral fiber and fabric wasn't as weak back then. Like that cultural development, the values, you knew what you were doing all day Sunday. church.
Right.
You
There was nothing else to do.
Well, and then even
You didn't have the football games.
even like with music, with TV, they glorify side chicks. They think that's a glamorous role. They're girls, women that strive to be a side chick. They don't want to be anything more. They're the music with the men.
What's up, baby?
You got the music glorifying men with multiple women. So young guys growing up, they see that. That's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to have.
Yeah, like I said, yeah, I had ADD in school, so I mean I can add real
Well,
well.
I'm asking Javon then. Javon, okay, so now we back on the
Rep your brand right here.
Mr. Rep Your
Because-
Right here. Rep your
Ain't
brand.
tuned to the models at all. Is it harder now because of the enhancements that, because men don't really, we can do hairline enhancements,
Yeah.
but women get a lot of enhancements. Does that make it harder?
This my opinion, right? I think that most women do it for other women.
I hear
think-
that all the time, but
I think that men really don't care about the fake lashes, the fake
Right,
hair,
yeah,
the fake Buddha, the fake tail. We really, I mean, if you really lacking,
Right.
you might need to get some work done. But I mean, we really don't care. But it looks very, very, very nice when it's put together, all the way together, and that women is, you know what I'm saying. But it's a social thing too, at the end of the day, because you know, naturally black women, we have what our hair, I mean, is, you know, naturally like that. But hey, you know, someone like the straight, the what they call it, the Peruvian and
Right,
Brazilian
right.
and all that. You know
We like it all. We like to be versatile.
and the versatility, that's the key. I mean, as long as you, because at the end of the day, I mean, some men, they would get bored with their women just looking just one certain way all the time. So if she switch it up, change it up, hey, that I'm all for it.
right. You like a little variety.
All right.
Right.
Well, okay. Let me once again. I hate to sound like a conservativist, but I'm very conservative and observative. And observative, right?
Right.
All right. We on Edgewood, right? Okay. People say it's a church on every corner in the hood.
Right.
No, there's a Beauty Max, a Beauty Depot. What's some of the places like you can't leave Edgewood from 95 to Commonwealth without hitting 40 different weave stores. Seriously.
Right.
Like right there on Moncrief,
Trust me.
right there on Moncrief, right there
Wait
on
a
Moncrief.
minute, don't pick on the ladies.
But no,
Because there's barber shops all over the place.
No, let me seriously, like, it's a totally different
Don't
industry.
pick on the
This
ladies.
is,
$1
we,
trillion.
yeah, we as in African American women, we as in African American women, as a portion of the U.S. population, has made that hair weave, hair extension, a multi-billion-dollar industry, and we spend more than what we make.
Okay, we do that, and men buy Mercedes, BMWs.
Hold on a second.
That's what y'all care about. We care about what we care about. Y'all care about what y'all care
But
about.
what I'm saying is,
And by the time you drive your Mercedes off the lot, it's probably worth about the same as my weave. So what? What?
It's an investment, huh?
yeah.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, all right. And I was listening to Zig Ziglar, the motivational speaker, Zig Ziglar. I was listening to Zig Ziglar, and he was talking about his daughter with self-esteem, and she thought her ears were ugly. So they took her to a plastic surgeon, right? They took her to a plastic surgeon, right? And he was saying that he never knew that his daughter felt like she was ugly. Like, she looked like her daddy. So in his mind, she's beautiful. But this was something that was really eating her self-esteem. So he said that before the plastic surgeon did surgery, he had to do a survey. He had to ask her some psychological questions before he made a permanent adjustment to what God had given her. And I feel like a lot of times our women are chasing an image that isn't even what they want. Like, I feel like the weed store should do some psychological counseling before they can sell you $100 bag of weed. That's just my thing. The same way we gotta sit down with the financing department to get the Mercedes, I feel like you should have to sit down with the sales rep before you cash out with that $500 weed, and you can't make $300 rent.
Listen.
Black businessmen.
Hey,
Black businessmen. Buy you some beauty supply stores.
Hey, listen.
Yeah,
Hey, you hear
yeah.
me?
Black businessmen.
Hey, you wanna link
Put your
up?
money together,
You
buy
wanna
something in the
link
store.
up?
Yeah,
Link up.
definitely.
Alright, let's
That's
link up.
that would go out of style right there.
Sure.
Yeah, what's that?
Recession proof.
Recession proof,
Yes.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think they buy more during the recession.
They say, look, I gotta look good at least.
Yeah, you hear me?
I ain't gonna be
I saw
nappy
some
and broke.
I saw some on Facebook that day that said, how
Broke
many years
and
y'all
nappy.
y'all had
I
the
got a
hurricane?
camera right here.
Who got hit up for a hurricane?
On Facebook.
Oh yeah,
Who getting
we're
there?
gonna do a little bit of the hurricane stuff. All right, so let's get into religion. Let's move on. That was a good topic, relationship. People say left, people say right, up, down, relationship, but let's talk a little bit of religion. This is I got a few shades of truth, y'all just say what y'all gotta say about it. First one right off the top. People believe, for those who kind of sort of fakely believe, people believe because they simply don't know everything but don't want to go to hell. Say the truth.
I'll say true.
A little bit of truth,
A little bit of truth.
more the fear of going to hell
Yeah.
type thing.
Yes. And it was, I mean, especially if you was raised in the church, that's all you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, especially them preachers back in the day, they used to scare you. Hey,
Right.
you better hey, get on up to this altar.
Right.
You better repent. Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, hey,
Right.
I done got baptized several times, and hey, man, you know, gave
First
my
time-
life to the Lord several times. You know, all that. So,
Keep giving it.
yes. Hey, trust me. Hey, I'm definitely a work in progress, but definitely I already. I mean, that's who I choose.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree with you on that because, you know, when we went to church way back in the day, we went as early as firstborn or whatever, but 5 years old, 6 years old, that's all they're talking about. Like, hey, make sure you are on the right side of the fence. Make
Yes.
sure that you don't miss the boat. You know what I mean? You want to be on what's the song, on the right side of the mountain. Whatever the case may be, you want to be. You don't want to deal with all of this and all of
You
that.
want to be in the number.
You want to be in the number.
One more time.
Yeah.
One more time. Oh.
I ain't playing Jesus.
Hey,
Sarah,
real talk.
what'd you say?
Is it shade or truth that people believe because they're scared of going to hell?
People.
That some people?
Yeah. You can't say all of anything, but some people it's more of a fear
Well, if you're
thing.
saying some people, yeah, that's
Fear.
true.
Yeah.
If you're saying some people, not all people.
Yeah, it means some people still say shade, but
Yeah, there's
I can't remember.
there. I'll have to say there's some truth to it. But for the most part, the purpose of religion is supposed to give you a guideline for how to live. I think that's the purpose of religion. It's not necessarily keep you from going to hell. It's supposed to teach you how to live at a superior level to be able to receive superior results, in my opinion. You know, and I think in our society, a lot of what we've been taught has been Europeanized, and because it's been Europeanized, the validity has been watered down, and the true benefits of religion have been compromised.
Right.
Because a lot of what we know here in America is based on a European perspective, and we have not received sound doctrine, and we were, as the Bible would say, people have itchy ears, and they turn to fables rather than truth. But like I said, I'm not trying to preach. I'm just putting it out there. My issue is, if you're a Muslim, be a Muslim 100%. If you're gonna be a Jew, be a Jew 100%. If you're gonna be a Christian, be a Christian 100%. You know what I mean? And if you're gonna check other, then be other 100%. Don't convert over and then you confusing me because you said that you weren't like this, and now you saying you are, and then you go back. Like I don't like that. That's one of the things that get under my skin is when, like I said, just be true to what you believe. If you're gonna be an atheist, there is no God. When you sick, don't call on him. You stay right there where you're at. When you're in an accident, stay where you at.
No, it can't be like that.
Well, put like this. Put like this. I'm gonna tell you what the book say. If you deny me before men, I will deny you before my Father. Like it ain't no like I'm not saying something that ain't already been documented. All I'm telling you is if you want to maximize the benefits of religion, stay true. That's all I'm saying.
So what's with the winning souls then?
Oh.
You just let them stay over there and.
That's not what I said.
Okay.
That's not what I said. He who wins souls is wise. Okay. But there have been a lot of fire and brimstone folks who have been converted into Christianity or some form of Christianity, and that's why it didn't stick, because that wasn't like my book teaches me that we love God because God loved us first. My book doesn't say that we love God because He saved us from hell. My book says that we love God because God loves us first. He drew me in through love and kindness and tender mercies. So, like, people getting saved because they don't want to go to hell, that's a bad basis for conversion anyway. You understand what I'm saying? Like, when brothers are in prison behind the wall, Christianity is like, what is this? Like, Christianity is what got me locked up based on what they were taught. You understand what I'm saying? Not Christianity in its purest context, but the Christianity that they've been exposed to got them locked up because there was no accountability. So they convert over to Islam because Islam is going to change addiction. It's going to change your diet. It's going to change your discipline. So they needed that structure that they didn't find because all they got was fire and brimstone. To them, being locked up in prison, that's hell. How do I get out of here? You need discipline. You need a diet. You cannot keep consuming toxic products and not think that those toxic products are not going to compromise your state of mind.
So what about like the pastors that have been in prison and they're fully in now, they haven't been back down that other road? What if they had just stayed in that mindset that got them in prison and they never crossed over? That's because that's what I feel like that's saying. Saying?
All right, your question is, what about pastors that have been locked up?
And yeah, right. They were locked up. They didn't have Christianity before that, but they found it. And now they're out and they're still on that same Christianity road and they haven't gone back, but they didn't come from that place. And then also, what about like the prodigal son? He was brought up in it, maybe went off and lost his way and was doing something completely different. Does he stay over there doing that because there's no flipping back and forth?
Okay. All right, keeping things in context, right? All right, He is the God of the backslider. Okay. All right. Must we continue in sin that grace may abound? God forbid. Meaning that, granted, that God did save us, right? Because we convert, we confess. You know what I mean? We got baptized. Like I've been baptized 3 times myself. Third time's a charm. So, like I said, you know what I mean? Some of us a little dirtier than others, so we need to get washed a little bit more. You understand what I'm saying?
Make sure it takes.
Yeah, whatever it takes, you can get it too. But
I can't. Never
But I also like that. I mean, sometimes, with Christianity being Europeanized, if that's the correct word, it also leaves a bad taste in people's mouth when they become what they call it, awakened or whatever. And I've kind of done some research in myself because now that I'm grown, I'm not saying I'm questioning God, but at the end of the day, I really want to, I'm seeking the truth. So, some people, as far as, with churches, they've been church hurt and stuff like that, and they start turning their back towards God or turning back towards religious people. some Southern Baptist churches or what you call those, like the Methodists or
Right.
the Baptists or the different, I guess, denominations
Yeah.
is what it's called.
Mm-hmm.
They have certain rules and regulations of what you can and can't do as a Christian.
Right.
That confuses people.
Right.
And that also, so they say, hey, if you're a woman wearing pants or you're a woman, just extra religious stuff to be a Christian, like some people can't take that. So they may convert, or they may just like, well, the heck with this religious stuff now, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
You keep searching for different churches
right.
like that. And
So what happens, like, when people are in, confusion about religion? Like, some people don't even believe in religion, but they do believe in a higher power. Or, some people they call it spiritual, more spiritual than religious. So what do you say, to those type of people? Is it wrong to be more spiritual than religious? Or, like, I'm just trying to get some, clarification.
All right. For example, all right, your mama, or hopefully somebody mama told you, you get up, you know what I mean? You say your prayers, you know what I mean? You brush your teeth, you wash your face. Now there's an order to this, okay? All right. Well, some people, it's called best practices. That's what religion does. Religion gives you best practices. If you wash your face, then brush your teeth, your face is going to be dirty again. If you wash your face, you brush your teeth, you may forget to pray. So why not pray first, then go brush your teeth, then go wash your face? This is religious, meaning that this is something that you're going to constantly do, because these help you keep your spirit clean. Remember, your spirit is something that doesn't have a body. It goes far beyond your body. Your spirit is picking up everything. You understand what I'm saying? But what religion does is it gives you guidance so that you stay on that straight and narrow, or you stay on that right path. It is best practices. Bill Belichick. The NFL is religion. Like, granted, everybody plays football. The Jets play football. The Jaguars play football. The Patriots play football. Bill Belichick has a set of best practices for the New England Patriots. So if you want to play football, this is the Patriot way. This is your Bible. This is how you apply it. And if you do it the way that I teach it, we will win the Super Bowl at the end of the season. Now, if it works Baptist for you, then you keep going Baptist. If it works best AME for you, then you go AME. If Pentecostal works for you, that's what you do. And the way that I look at church, all right, for example, right, I just had knee surgery. I had to go to an orthopedic physician. I didn't go to a family practice doctor. I didn't go to a general practice doctor. I went to someone that specialized in orthopedic surgeries. So, when it comes to religion, you know your struggles. I believe that you should be placed in a church or a ministry that helps you with your specialty. But if you cannot find a church with your specialty, then you can go to a general practice ministry to get what you need. As a pastor of Fresh Word Ministries, we are a teaching ministry. And my mission is teaching ministry. All right? So like the church belongs to Jesus. It is Jesus' church. He gives individuals a ministry to build up the church, which is, the ministry is designed to build up the church which belongs to Jesus. So therefore, if the people are not being built up, then the ministry is not effective. So, like, that's how I look at it. You know what I mean? You go to get what you need based on where you're at. And like I said, there is no competition. I'm not competing with Macedonia or all people. I'm trying to reach the people in Washington Heights. That's where my heart is. That's where my labor is. That's where my work is. So, all right, if you want what I got, you come to where I am. That's how that works. You know what I mean? But like I said, I don't knock people who don't come to where I am, because, like I said, there's a city ministry and there's a country ministry. You understand what I'm saying? But like I said, there's specialties for everyone, and I believe every ministry should be Bible based. And if it's not Bible based, then you don't have a basis or a point of reference to go by. That would be my recommendation.
That's good, LaShawn. I like that.
And you can get it too.
That's
Every
good.
Sunday, 10 a.m. in Washington Heights. Every Sunday. Which camera am I supposed to look at?
That's what's
You
up.
actually got a bunch of one right here, one right there.
All y'all can get it. All y'all can get it. All y'all.
No, that was a good breakdown on religion.
Yeah.
I live this.
Mhm.
Like, my thing is, all right, for example, rep your brand, Candid Poetry, right? Team Nitro. We ain't in competition. I'm specifically catering to athletes or people trying to get into fitness. All right. So why would I want to compete with my brother when he's doing the same thing I'm doing? Like, there's a reason why there's a Burger King right across the street from McDonald's. We can't get everybody.
Right.
But then again, if I talk about your product and you talk about my product, people gonna go to Walmart and they ain't gonna rep your brand or Team Nitro or Candid Poetry because we spend so much time down talking to each other. Ain't nobody doing business with none of us.
Right.
But once again, that goes back to slavery. That's what we've been taught. So if this church don't work, we want to talk about it. All right. But you go to Walmart, it's a long line and it's bad service. Oh, I can't stand that cashier. Well, guess what? Next week, I thought you said you didn't like Walmart. What are you doing here? Oh, I just had to get something. But you told me that you couldn't stand. But then when it comes to the black business or the black church, oh, I ain't never going back.
Right.
Because of one. But that's how we think. You understand what I'm saying?
You're right.
Anyways, I do a lot of reconditioning or reconditioned thinking for our people. I try to help them with that aspect.
On the segue, just kind of, I gotta switch the camera, I'm sorry. I wasn't ready for the switch. All right, so, to add what you're saying, does a pastor or pastors, bishops, or any other ranking official have too much power? Share the truth.
The only person I could think of who may have allocated too much power, if I was to use that term, would be the Pope. The Pope is because, all right, people don't understand. All right, for example, one of my coaches who teaches gymnastics, Coach Matt, he teaches our youth gymnastics on Wednesdays. His baby will be born at St. Luke's, right? But then he said, no, St. Vincent's. All right, St. Vincent's is a Catholic-owned hospital. I need y'all to understand something. Like we look at the government. The entity that holds the most real estate in the world. Listen to me now. People talk about the Rothschilds. The number one institution that holds more property than any other nation is the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church has more property than any other institution in the world. Remember that. Remember that. When people were going out in the name of the King, well, we're going to put it under the church. Let's put it under the church umbrella. Listen, we don't even think on that level. We don't think on that level. But the Catholic Church has more property than any other institution in the world. Remember that. Just keep that in mind. And like I said, when you have that much real estate, you have that much revenue, and you have that much power. You understand what I'm saying? You can't. It's hard to compete when you have one institution that has so much influence over. Like technically, they can suppress information. First, well, and if you're Catholic and you're watching this on Facebook Live or YouTube or wherever, please understand I have to use this as an illustration. Okay? I have to use it as an illustration. All right. I'm not glorifying this, and I don't want to turn anybody away from the church. I just want to just use this as an example. You have priests that have violated youth. The Catholic Church has so much power that instead of that priest doing prison time, they can suspend the government and they can have that priest shipped to another country.
Suspend.
Keep that in mind. It's like you talk about the military. The military ain't got nothing on the Catholic Church. So like that's.
That goes way back though, doesn't it?
But it's still relevant.
Mhm.
But you would never like this. Just like these boys talking. So you want to know what they do? Or how much do you think that experience was 20 years ago, Tara? 2 million, 3 million?
Mhm.
We don't even have to go that far. How about we can just try to check. That's what the Catholic Church
She's
can
able to do, yeah.
do. I need y'all to understand that that's the type of power.
And it's never spoken of.
And they can suspend the press. They can suspend the press to where we will never hear about it. I ain't talking about Gilliard type stuff. Like you'll never hear about them Catholic priests and what they do from a violation perspective.
Now bishops and stuff like that, that actually comes from the Catholic Church.
All right, now we're going into church history. I don't
Right.
want to spend the whole time talking about different lectures,
Right.
but bishops go back to biblical before the Catholic Church came into existence. The Catholic Church didn't come about until after Jesus was crucified, after the Apostle Paul was beheaded. Like so, these things were not in existence until after the Bible was completed. Okay, we're looking at the Catholic Church 300 years post-Bible. Okay, and Catholic means universal church. So when you look at that, as far as the headquarters in Rome and Italy, this came after the Bible was completed. Okay, and people start talking about the Church of Nicaea and what version are we going to use as a canon, or what version of the Bible are we going to use. So like you have what you call Orthodox Catholics, you got what do they call them? Eastern Catholics. You got different versions of Catholicism, but the main one that we know is based in Rome. And that form of Catholicism is a Catholicism that the Catholic Church that owns most of the real estate in the world. Okay,
Right.
Regardless of what country, whether it's Russian, whether it's Russia, the Czech, England,
Gotcha,
like
gotcha.
they.
For example, like Tony said, it's not about how much power that you have, or it's how you use the power, right? Do you think, and you could say shade the truth, but I'm just gonna ask like this: do you think some people actually use it as a form of getting rank, like say kind of like military? If I'm over someone, that makes me feel good about myself.
Oh yeah.
Do you think they use that?
Oh yeah.
in
Oh
the
yeah.
business?
I got. And I'm not knocking this. I gotta make sure I say this.
You ain't knocking nothing.
I ain't knocking nothing because like I said, it's you. But you gonna answer to whatever you say you are. You gonna answer to that. Keep that in mind. Like people like, man, you got a problem if people don't call you pastor? No, I don't care. I'm Deshaun. If I need a title
Come on.
for you to acknowledge me, then something's wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah.
You understand what
You
I'm saying?
know who you are.
I know who I am.
Mhm.
Like I said, I teach martial arts, but my students call me Mr. Nix. They don't call me coach,
Sensei.
sensei. They call me Mr. Nix. Like that. Like I know who I am.
Okay.
And like I said, that's now when it comes to black folks, we need titles for validation. Because we were neglected to having titles. So when we get an opportunity to be over something, we want to run with it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
old boy got saved last week. Next week he evangelist. Week after that he apostle. Week after that he bishop. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
he studied.
yeah. Like I said, the Lord working with him like never before. You know what I mean? He got his own Bible coming out.
Right.
I got that 2017 edition.
And he got product.
I got that 2017 edition.
You got product.
Yeah. Hey, I got those scriptures on. I got those scriptures on deck, boy.
All right. Okay, so all right, so we got that. All right, we're gonna turn to the book. Okay, wait. We're going wealth now. All right, and we talk about this black community. We say every community. It's hard to even put this in the shade of truth on this particular way, but some say generational. is the best way to have wealth, and some say starting a business, but starting the right business is the way to wealth. What would you say? What do you do with Jamal? Get in here.
I honestly think it's both because in order to have generational wealth, somebody had to start something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Somebody had right. It wasn't, so especially like in my situation, I plan on starting a generational wealth path for me and my kids and their kids, So that's my plan, but my people didn't have that plan for me, so I have to kick that off for my people.
Mm.
So, I mean, Donald Trump, he's a part of generational wealth.
Right.
So he was born with the golden spoon in his mouth.
Right.
So, hey, yeah.
All right, we gotta understand wealth from, how can I put this? We have to understand wealth. I would recommend from a biblical perspective first, okay? Because number one, if you are neglecting your family, you are not wealthy.
Come on.
All right.
Come on.
All right. You're not wealthy. You're not wealthy. You're not wealthy. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. If your business is consuming all of your energy, basically it's like you're a slave to your business.
Mm-hmm.
So we exchange one master for another master. Okay. So I gotta be very sensitive into how I put this. Okay. Because all right, like people say, well, how come all the blacks, they were doing so well back in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s, and then when the 70s and the 80s, all of a sudden stuff just went south. Well, let me tell you what happened. The teachers who taught black folks in the 20s and the 30s and the 40s, they were black folks. So they taught their people stuff to be thriving in the community that they lived in. Now, listen, what's 1 plus 1, Chris? 2. You believe that, right?
Yeah.
But when I take my daughter to the store and she said, Dad, I got $2. I said, baby, you ain't got enough. It don't make sense to her.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm teaching her for the community she lives in.
Mm-hmm.
But Chris and I and him and you, we've been taught what they gave us.
Mm-hmm.
1 plus 1 is 2.
Mm-hmm.
But when you go to spend $2, you get to the cash register, it's $2.14. Daddy, you got some change, Daddy? So what happens is that like we have not been taught on the level to compete with every other nationality, because we're the only nationality that's dependent on the people who enslaved us to properly educate us.
Mm-hmm.
So once again, we've been taught to find a good job. We haven't been taught to create employment.
Right.
So therefore, what happened was before the 60s, this before smack. All right. So because all right. Once again, listen. When drugs and alcohol has plagued your family as much as this plagued mine, then you get to find out, well, where did we go wrong? If my mama telling me the smartest man she ever met was my daddy, and my daddy spent most of my life in prison, where did we go wrong?
Right.
Well, then basically that means that my daddy came from good stock because he had good genes. So how did those genes get contaminated? They got contaminated based on what was in the environment. What was in the environment? The drugs that were accessible.
All right, hold on. Let me get something. All right, so on the wealth tip, like Devon spoke on choosing to, maybe starting business. And one of the main things is not doing the business like proper. Like we're gonna talk black right now. We're not as educated in knowing what to do and how to navigate the tax situation or creating, the name and all that kind of stuff, incorporating. There's a lot of people that would be successful at nonprofit, but they don't know how to do it. Others, let's just say others, they know how to get it done. And that's the big gap right now. The gap is knowing how to do something.
Right.
And we got to spend time on that.
Right.
And then we got to start early. We used to have a junior achievement program. They still have that, where you had to start a business, you had to do this, that, and the third. But
You talking about in college?
No, I mean like in high school back
Well,
in
well, high school, back when?
back in the 90s.
Alright, that's not being taught.
Okay, so that's not even anymore. Okay, see, so we don't have a lot of programs that are in place. You have a small level program, but if you were having a meeting, you would be talking to a lot of people who don't know what to do.
Right.
Now, we're all business owners in the room here, and what we don't want, sometimes we see is people don't pick the right profession. And so, I've been in the banking industry for a while, and I get to see a lot of businesses. A lot of people come in and want a loan, they want a mortgage, and it's like you see so many different types of jobs and different types of things that they've chosen, and you never would think of it. And it's like we might say, I can't be a mechanic, so I can't start any type of tire shop or anything like that. You don't have to be a mechanic to have that particular field.
Listen.
But you don't do the research to see that that's a money-making industry, right?
What?
Because
Listen.
everybody needs tires.
Listen. Well, you said a mouthful right there for real, because the way I look at stuff from an entrepreneur, I'm a visionary naturally. So, why work for, you know what I'm saying, something when you can, man, just do it, Even though our people, we do learn a lot by trial and error, and that's just like you said, that's the gap.
Mm-hmm.
That's the gap. But once we get it right, the people that do get it right, they need to pass the information on down.
Right.
And it's too many of our people that don't do that. And I think that's one of the real issues and stuff like that. But man, but if you in business over 5 years, man, and you're a black-owned business, you're doing pretty good.
Right.
I think it's exposure, because to me, from my view, I see a lot of black people in business. I feel like there are a lot of black people doing business. A lot of black people that's been doing business. So as far as people that aren't doing it, and that, it's exposure. It's exposure. It's where you are and what you're exposed to, and maybe broadening that, finding a way to expose them to these people. Because I won't sit here and say it's not people. It's not a gang of people doing it. It's a gang of black people doing stuff.
Right, but just like you said, with exposure, it's a lot of black people don't want to pay for the exposure, which is marketing and advertising. It's a necessity that we need as business owners. We need to market and advertise our business, because at the end of the day, you can't just focus on your local community.
Yeah, the world is bigger than the community.
Right, the world is a lot bigger than the community. It's print media, it's internet advertising, and digital advertising. It's huge. I'm a marketing expert right now, and I know I deal with small to medium-sized business owners each and every day, day in and day out, and I know their challenges. And people that make $2 million, $3 million in revenue each and every year as a small to medium-sized business, they are hurting for exposure right now. If they making that much money on a year-to-year basis, and I have to consult these people each and every day on how to get their brands out there to the masses, and we thinking on this $50 a month, $100 a month, but it's all about the return on your investment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The plumber, the electrician that's spending $1,000 a month on their marketing and advertising, they go get the best return on their investment, because guess what? They are investing into their company. They're paying for the leads.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If they are a plumber, a average plumbing job will cost about $5,000.
Right.
If they paying $300, $400, $500 a month, man, that one job can pay for almost for the whole year.
Right.
And that truly is key.
Yeah.
Prime example of that, Kitty. Kitty's Custom Cleaner, and what she does on her advertisement versus how her company is growing and expanding now. The proof is in the pudding.
Right. cause like I did Jana King and disclaimer, you know, I don't want to talk bad about anybody who had Jana King, but they were doing the advertising for me. So you were actually paying them to find businesses instead of actually me doing it myself. So it ended up being the wrong thing to do because they weren't going to go after it like, say, a Katie went after. And so you fizzle out because they're giving you types of businesses you might not even want. It's a lot of work, not good pay.
Right.
Whereas you can, if you're doing it yourself, you go out and you find the business you want, and you know when it's not good right from the get-go, and you're not obligated because this you know, the franchise had to give you this and you had to take it.
Right.
Type thing.
Right.
So that's totally different. But I would, like I said, I see so many businesses that you wouldn't think of. You know, it's like something, and some of it, like you said, is going to school. Even if you don't fully go to college, you should take a class. There's nothing wrong with taking a class just to get that particular information, because you might meet some people, you might learn some things, and you might get plugged into the right places and the right people. And like you say, that costs a little bit of money. And you know, we all think we can just do whatever we want, we just do it, and that's not really the way. You gotta invest in yourself.
You take that.
Let me tell you what I did. Just briefly on my story. I started my company because of the death of my brother back in 2009. I didn't know what I was doing, but I started my label because I had a passion for, you know, for music, and you know, his death, the one that pushed me to go ahead and start my label. So I was running hard 6, 9, 12 months, not knowing what I was doing at all, but just common sense and just trying to go by my own knowledge. I was messing up.
Right.
I was going so fast, but I was messing up. I was losing money. Like I call it going 100 miles per hour with the emergency brakes on, because I'm moving so fast, but I'm losing so much money. You know, I'm going to shows 3, 4 times a week, but my family and my family situation jacked up at home.
Right.
You
Too
know
much
what I'm
time in the wrong place.
Imbalance.
Imbalance.
You know, so at the end of the day, man, balance. That balance thing is key, man. When you run the business, because man, you got to have enough time for your family and enough time for your business. And just like you said earlier, hey, if you spend too much time on that business, man, you become a slave to that business, and you end up neglecting your people. Your people. Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of brought up a lot of great points. Chris, Candid Poetry has actually participated in one of our events. We do economic and empowerment job fairs and career fairs in Washington Heights twice a year, where we're trying to do vision casting and letting people know, okay, there are things that you can do now to set yourself up for greatness later. So, and one of the things was like, news want to know, well, why would you bring it here? I'm like, well, because ain't nobody else bringing it here. So it basically, if I can't get the people to come to another event, then I need to bring the event to where the people are at. And a lot of times, well, I'm just going to tell you like the book say. The Bible says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So when we look at it, we have to make sure that our people do have accurate information. A lot of stuff that we have is so outdated, or it's not applicable. So we have to make sure that that we provide outlets and forums like this to let people know, listen, you do have to go through the bumps and bruises. It typically takes about 5 years before you get a return on investment. So if you're not willing to put 5 years in before you can pay yourself, that ain't your dream, baby. That's Martin Luther King's dream.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
You got see, and then like I said, I can go spiritual, I can go natural. Our people had so many kids in after slavery, because they knew this is what it was going to take to work the field. You understand what I'm saying? We need somebody that's going to work with the cows, somebody that's going to butcher the meat, somebody that's going to work the crops. We need somebody that's going to be selling at the thrift store or the marketplace. You understand what I'm saying? When my uncles would tell me that my great grandfather would go get fish from somewhere. He'd have a block of ice. He'll keep the fish on the ice, and he would go through the community selling fish with a cart with a block of ice in it. Like, that gave me hope. Like, man, you need karate. You need karate. You need karate. And you can get it too.
Exactly.
like you. But like I said, we have not been cultivated. And then our communities and our families tell us to play it safe. So we got people who are dream killers and they don't even know it.
Right.
But the formula is simple. If somebody's listening, this is the formula. You work your job, right? And then when you get off work, you work your job. Part-time. That's how it works. You keep your main job to pay your bills while you build your part-time business after work. That means you can't go to the club. That means you can't get high every night. That means you can't get drunk every night. You can't run the street you can't scroll Facebook. When I'm not here, my face is in a book. Like I said, like I said, I'm reading the 48 Powers of Law, just learning different strategies to work with people, to help people. But like I said, I got like 5 books on deck.
Right.
Think and Grow Rich from a Black Perspective, Black Choice by Dennis Kimbrough. Like, I'm trying to hurry to finish reading this book so I can pick up this book. And I got another book waiting on me after I finish that. Like, so like we don't spend a lot of time doing research, and a lot of the information we get from people, they don't even know what they're talking about.
Right. And then I'm just touching on a few things here. Sometimes we have to validate people. Like, if a person has got this credential, we listen to anything they say. Like, you have those classes and stuff, and it's like, I go there. But it might be somebody that has some good information, but we won't go and listen to that person because they don't have the credentials. Or who you think he is. A lot of people, like you say, will do classes, and a lot of times they go to the school and do the class. We ain't in the school. Let's say we're not in the school, so we don't know that business owner who has $1 million business or whatever is actually out there trying to reach people. He reaches 5 or 6 classes a day, whatever the number of people in the class. It's a lot of people, really, more so than calling them for a meeting and 10 people show up. So they're actually doing more than what we know, but we don't know the class. And that class is for those who have paid to be in that class, not for anybody to just show up and show up for free. So, but one of those biggest problems is not actually believing in the people who will do it. So if you can't go to the class, say for example, I don't want to sign up for the class, or I don't have the money to sign up for the class, but you have somebody that's willing to do a class like what we doing, and what I do, what you do. So you have, but then people don't show up.
All right. I had this thought on my mind this morning, and I think it's applicable, right? All right, because people throw that religion thing in there too, like God didn't look out for me when I started the business. No, God did not say He's gonna bless what you dream. He didn't say He's gonna bless what you think. He didn't say He's gonna bless your vision. He said commit. And until you commit, that means you got to see it all the way to the end. You'll never get the benefits. I opened up a daycare, true story. I had it in my mind, I'm gonna run this daycare, I'm gonna get this daycare going, And I built it up, I had like 22 kids. A black man owning the daycare.
Right.
I need y'all to get this.
Okay.
You know how hard it is to sell a daycare when it's owned by a black man.
Right.
All right?
Right.
I had 22 kids.
Yes.
Right? After people were calling me late at night about why my baby ain't got no Pampers, and I said, man, because you only sent 4. So I need you to say, but let me tell you the benefit of this, right? The benefit was, after I did the 4-year, I said, this ain't for me. But because I built up the business so good, I was able to sell my business.
Right.
So, but if I had never committed, I probably would have lost everything.
Right.
But because I committed, I was able to sell what I had.
Right.
Like somebody saw value in what I had, that they were willing to buy what I built. And we don't look at it from that perspective. And there's many success stories. The guy that owned, is it Bob Johnson? I always get it confused. The guy that owned BET before he sold it. Bob Johnson sold that for what? Like $1 billion. Like, oh, you mean to tell me I don't have to worry about paperwork, selling, marketing plans? I can, like, You can build a business and then sell your business. Like if you build it right and you say this is too much, you can actually sell what you built.
And people don't think about it like that. They don't
No.
think about they're gonna sell the business.
That's why we're here.
Right.
That's why we like.
Because I was talking about houses too, same thing. You don't have to buy the house and live in it for the rest of your life. You're not gonna really make the money that way, I tell you that much. But if you sell a house eventually, you're gonna make some money off that house and get you another house and do it again, do it. So exactly what you just said, it's our thinking. And what you said, Tara, is there are a lot of people that are successful, but I think we're not in the right channels. And there's also a fear because if you get called and say, is he bragging? Or who does he think he is? You know, also, am I gonna be robbed? You know, if I come out and say I made $1 million or $2 million, so we're not gonna tell you that. Cause that's me to know and you to find out type thing. So I'm not gonna tell you how much I make. But that again, people are not gonna listen unless you know that this person's successful. Or
That's
you
a
see
crutch.
it,
That's a
or you
crutch,
see
though.
it.
It's a crutch, and it's an easy way not to go out there and start your business. There ain't nobody doing it. Black people we can't start no business. That's a crutch. That makes it easy for you not to do it.
Yeah.
And especially if you truly look outside of your street or outside of your family, there are a lot of black people doing a lot of big things.
Mm-hmm.
And just like LaShawn was saying about when he's not here, he's in a book. You don't necessarily have to take a class because you got libraries, you got the internet, the information is there for you. But what they say about us, you hide it. You don't want us to know. You hide it in a book because we're not gonna read it.
We ain't gonna read it.
So we don't read it.
But you can get it. You can get it. You can get it. You can get it too.
Yeah, and like you say, and then another, like you say, starting the right business is the key thing. And I don't think we think big enough. If you see trade shows and different type of business, it's usually a self business. It's like for me to sell this product, or I like to sell jewelry, or I like to sell this, I like to sell that. And the wealth comes from the we getting people to work for you. The government sets it up for you to employ people. Now, when you employ people, you got to deal with the tax involved with that and paying people and the payroll. And so we might say, ooh, I don't want to do all that. I just want to make $1,000 a month or something like that. $500 extra, I can, you know, go on a vacation or something like that. So we think too small on business. Yeah.
If I can interject for just a second, right? Just to be clear, okay? I teach martial arts at school, right? I also teach a school, okay? But if I thought like an employee, I would never be able to run my business and a job at the same time.
Right.
But because I don't half step on my job, I can demand more and I can do less because of how I presented it. So, for example, all right, the average teacher, let's just say, makes $35,000 a year, right? Okay, listen, I don't want any benefits. All right, I don't want holiday pay. You can take me down to $25,000 a year. All right, I'm sounding like I'm losing money, right? Because that's $10,000 I just lost. Y'all get that? But I don't want to work all day. But I will be here 3 days a week. And I will work the whole day, 3 days a week. You take me down to 25 grand. Did I win or did I lose?
You won because you gained time.
Bam. Now I got time to build my business while making sure I can still take care of my obligations.
Right.
So instead of you trying to sell yourself, well, not just, I'm sorry, we've been trained to say sell yourself. You don't. You sell a service, you sell a product. My service is teaching. So therefore, that's my service. I provide my service for this amount of hours a week. So now I'm selling hours, and I'm not selling a year contract. I'm selling hours. But I had to read Rich Dad Poor Dad, Guide to Investing. I had to think. I had to read the 4-Hour Work Week. Like, these are different books on entrepreneurs, and you want to know, like, did everybody grow up with money? And no, but most self-made millionaires come from healthy, functional families. You know what I mean? So basically, we wonder why the Asians are so successful, and I'm not knocking Asians. They're successful because they got that family structure right. So
Right.
therefore, you don't have to leave this house until you finish your accounting degree, which is a specialty. You wonder, like the Arabs, you don't have to leave this house until your business, until your business is able to pay for itself and pay for your home. How about you, the grandkids? Don't worry about it. Y'all stay here, rent free, build your business until it's time for you to go.
Yes.
We have
You get job at 15 more.
Hey, get out. 14, get out. You
Where's
just-
check it? Man,
What?
Burger King check it. Bring that here.
Hey, straight up. Hey, already paying bills at 15.
Yeah.
Hey,
Put something in your name already.
yes.
Spread out these.
Yes, but man, I love what you just said. They other cultures have that family dynamic down, pat, man, and that's something that we've been saying it for years and years, and we get in our own way as a people. To be honest with you, and
We have to reprogram ourselves.
Yeah.
It's not everybody. It's not really our fault. You
Right.
know, if you look at our history, so
Right.
it's about reprogram so that we can have that family
right.
structure.
Don't you wish it was just a button you can just press?
Reset.
God.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody just sync.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Because we need to sync as a people. If we're not syncing.
all right, and then like I said, I might have said this on another Shade of Truth show.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between good debt, bad debt. Okay, good debt, bad debt. All right, good debt or bad debt. This, I'm just gonna throw out here. Good debt, going to college, student loans. Good debt or bad debt?
Bad.
Bad.
Bad debt. But you maybe need an education though, right?
Yes. You do need an education.
Yeah, but you gonna be in debt for the rest of your life.
All right, now watch this. Watch
Okay.
this. I want you to get this right. My homegirl went to law school. All right, law school was like $110,000. That's just schooling. That ain't housing. That's just schooling. $100,000. Her homegirl, her parents used a credit card, paid for her education and housing with one swipe. They built up their credit to over $100,000 on their credit card. They did one swipe. Listen to this now. Filed bankrupt. I need you to get this.
Trickery.
Right.
A student loan never leaves you.
Mhm.
A credit card after 7 years is going to leave you. But it's good debt because now we got an attorney in the family. We getting all kind of debt.
But you talking about not having debt the way you just said you don't have debt then.
But that's the difference.
It's gone.
So that's good debt. That's good debt.
But it's no longer that though.
When you swipe that card, what I'm
Well,
thinking,
initially, yes.
yeah, but like I said, what I'm saying is, all right, Carter G. Woodson in the Miseducation of the Negro, he says that when you can control a man's thinking, you don't have to worry about what he's going to do. So basically, like I said, I read our people books and I read their people books.
Mhm.
But
You got to.
so like I said, I'm not when I'm talking from, like I said, I got a master's in leadership management. I got a bachelor's in education. I went to EWC, which is a black college. I graduated from there. I graduated senior class president. All right. They didn't teach me how to teach black people though.
Mhm.
I went to a black college to get a black education, but they didn't teach me how to teach black folks.
Yeah.
So, like, our programming is there's so much, like, we're more than just government dependent for housing. We're government dependent on education. We're government dependent on food. We're government dependent on everything. We're, like, how are we supposed to live? Like, for example, I'm not trying to knock my grandmother, but after my granddaddy died, she ain't never remarried. You wanna know why? Shoot, you gonna knock out her check.
Right.
She can't remarry. Like, this is economics. Wow. You keep what you got, I keep what I got.
Yeah. 'Cause-
But it's a lot of things. Like I said, you know, it take a lot to walk by faith. It take a lot. And like I said, I give anybody courage who steps out there. I give anybody, like, I give them my props for stepping out the box.
Mhm.
Be-
Let's talk about a little bit of realistic. You said we talking black. kind of ease into blackness. But
I helped you get there
yeah,
now.
you did.
I'll
No,
help you.
yes, you did, because you was on it. So this is what I see, and it's got nothing to do with realistically skin color. We don't want to take hot, yellow, dark, and all that kind of stuff like that. But we are basically about 4 to 5 different type of race within the same skin. We all black, but we're really different. We have a lot of differences, but we unfortunately can't say I'm over here like this, or somebody might say they're Irish, they might say they're this, they might say that, whatever. But you have enough people doing good and doing well that nobody's going to talk about, because we see so much of people doing wrong.
All right, I'm gonna put like
And
this.
it's glorified. The wrongness is glorified.
Well, all right. Oprah is a billionaire, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's just be real, okay? Oprah in her billionaire status, she cannot go to Bank of America and say, "Give me my $1 billion."
No, she cannot.
So, like I said, there's a component of economics that we don't quite understand when we start talking about liquid. Like, there's so many things that we're so behind the curve that we don't pay attention. And then, this is what's so funny. If Bank of America gave Oprah $1 billion, she's no longer a billionaire. I want just 5 seconds to think about it. All right, she's still a billionaire. No, she's not. Once she takes that money out the bank, she's no longer a billionaire, because she just took her money out of stated income. And because it's no longer stated or secured or backed by the government, she's
massive money. Yeah.
She's just like us now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, us is in like where I'm at.
But that's the system. That's the system. The system is to keep it like that. And like you said, they can't give you all that cash anyway, because it doesn't exist. See, that's
Like
the
that
thing
movie
about it.
Osric. Anybody watching the Osric series?
Somebody do the comedian Oscar?
No. Not Ozark. I'm sorry.
God,
Ozark.
they're killing me.
My
The
bad,
dude-
Osric.
the
My
dude with the
bad.
tight shirt.
My bad, Osric.
He got the big nipples right here in the front with the tight shirt.
He gonna get
Oscar,
you.
You know
He gonna
Oscar,
get you.
he's a comedian though.
He gonna get
Listen,
you.
Oscar, listen, I can give it,
Uh-oh.
but I ain't gay.
Oh,
I ain't taking it.
No, it's Ozark. But you remember that
I ain't taking
the
it.
guy tried to
I
go to the
ain't
bank and
taking
get all
it
his
from nobody.
bills out, and they was like, oh, and the Federal Reserve and everybody.
Everybody came along.
Mm-hmm. Like, no, you can't take all that money out of here. What's going on? Why you need it?
But like I said, I haven't even seen what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody taught me this. I had to research, because if we're going to build something, like I said, we don't have that group mentality. We don't have religion that actually empowers. That's my problem with religion. Religion doesn't empower. Religion enslaves. That's not true religion. You understand what I'm saying? That's not true religion. But then we talk about this loyalty thing. There is no true loyalty for us because we don't know what that is. For example, my barber pisses me off, but I'm still going to get my hair cut by him next week. That's loyalty.
My barber pisses me off too. I hope he's watching.
No,
He always give me a hard time about calling him in advance. And don't just pop up because he may want to go somewhere and all that kind of stuff like that.
Trey, don't listen to that because you keep him right. Don't listen to that. Don't
y'all
fire
see
him.
me cut.
Let him keep coming, Trey.
Keep it right.
Trey, I've seen him without a haircut. He got to
Trey,
come
you
back.
got him right. Just ignore him. Let him keep coming, please.
No, I'm giving him a hard time because he gives me a hard time. But the money is the trick. You know what I mean? That's why we say credit is important. But people, let's say people, they have the right, let's say some, not all of them, they have the right information at the right time to build a certain amount. Because they have loans, they have grants, they have things that they don't have to pay back. You got all kinds of stuff to help people get to that level of wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And, Donald Trump is a good example of how he had money, but he got more money by doing the systematic bankruptcy and getting it again and not using your own money when you have money. If you watch Ballers, they're talking about moving a team to Las Vegas, and all these players are trying to get the team, get a stadium built. They're not going to use any of their money. They're billionaires and don't use a dime of their own money.
2001, I believe it was 2001, 2002. Donald Trump filed bankrupt. he was in the hole negative $2 billion. All right. 2 years later, 2004, his net worth was above $2 billion. That means he had to have $4 billion to get out of negative, right? Like, this is the math that you don't think about. See, we look at math pertaining to numbers, but we're not looking at it from money perspective. To him, we can't go to sleep because we behind the light bill. This man's sleeping good, and he's negative $2 billion. He's sleeping good.
Right.
And like you said, he's still getting loans.
Still getting loans.
Still got assets. Still got foreign bank accounts. But we haven't been schooled on that level.
Right. We nervous about the stock market and all that kind of stuff like that and doing that kind of stuff because the people that they say, oh, he got to go to jail or he inside trade and da-da-da, that is massive media keeping everybody else out of it. There's a few sacrificial lambs that go to jail behind that because they don't want everybody into it. Whenever it becomes so many people getting into something, you got to do something to get people out of it.
Yeah.
As soon as some people like the whole bank, the whole industry crumbles and stuff, that was a necessary thing. So they can hide a lot of this and hide a lot of that and not show you this and not show you that. So they do all that kind of stuff just to keep you out of it. But when I started working for the banks, I learned that realistically, it's like saying money isn't real. You know what I mean? They put so much out there, they get rid of so much of it, they burn it, they tear it up, they do whatever they do. I always trip out about the whole Saddam Hussein. I mean, when they went to Kuwait and all that kind of stuff, they had all that money over there. Remember that? They were showing on TV, they had millions of dollars and nobody could bring it back. You know what I mean? The soldiers were trying to bring the money back and they couldn't bring it back. And if they brought it back, it would have been useless. It wouldn't have worked in the system because it would have overflooded and it would have been a problem. And they would have had to do something to turn that money off, get rid of the money, or you kill people, whatever they had to do. But if people couldn't bring all that money back, because it's not really real. The whole thing is, like say, the bank got a hold about, what is it, about 25% or whatever they say they're supposed to have. They got to have about so much in the vault, only so much. And if you want to come get too much money, they got to get it from somewhere else. And it's going to really overthrow the balance of that bank if they give it to you. So they're going to question you like they did in the Ozark, like, why do you want this money? What are you going to do? And they quote unquote say, are you doing terrorists? They got the terrorist
Bring the
stuff.
feds in, bring
Say you can't give, we don't want you to give it to, it's not about terrorists.
See,
It's about, we going to mess up the system.
all right, first of all, like, and like I said, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. You ever heard of Muammar Gaddafi?
Yeah.
Muammar Gaddafi, was it like 5 years ago, he was the richest man in the world. Like Bill Gates was worth like maybe $20 billion. This man was worth $200 billion. That's how rich Muammar Gaddafi was. Okay. In Libya, he established the Libyan bank. He is the most profitable African country. That was the most profitable African country in the continent of Africa that was not European run. Listen to what I just said.
Yeah.
Africa, which is a big resource-rich continent, which is ran by Europeans. But this is the most wealthy country without European influence.
Right.
He's a threat because if he buys any stock in America, as you're saying, he can offset. For example, if you can imagine like produce, all right, or if you look at like cash crops, I want to purchase so many of collard greens, tobacco, this, that, and other. I'm gonna purchase all of it. He would shut down the stock market. That's too much power.
Yeah.
When you can overflow, like you said, the stock market, if you buy so many shares, you're now a controlling partner. You can't, when you can't control them, and like I said, I do fault Obama on that because he wasn't given a right to a speedy trial. He wasn't a right to a jury, and they said because he was killing innocent people in Libya. Police kill innocent people in our streets every day.
Yeah, he didn't kill nobody.
But that's how they portray him as
the people
as a
under
dictator.
him.
Like I said, same thing that they did with, like I said, Fidel Castro. He didn't have none of that money
Right.
that Muammar had. It's not the same level. But when you're dealing with someone who has assets and natural resources, like the U.S. dollar used to be backed by gold, by the way. Richard Nixon took us off, and like you have to, like Watergate. Nobody care about some documents that somebody broke into an office to read about. What they care about is the fact that you messed up because you took us off the gold standard, you idiot.
Mhm.
And now we got to find another way to manipulate the currency. Get him out of here. That's the real reason why he was impeached. But like I said, but this is stuff that we don't play on that level. We think, oh, he did something illegal. What did he do? He ain't kill nobody.
Right.
Nobody was hurt behind that. Oh, they broke into an office and did some research and read some papers. They, computers weren't even like it is now, where you can put it on social media. No, they read some stuff.
Looking through a file.
Yeah.
No, he took us off the gold standard.
Right.
The dollar is not backed by anything. So, like I said, those are the type of things that I don't think that, like, we're not being taught. We're being told, but we're not being taught about that global market, which is something you mentioned, I think, earlier. We're being told, but we're not being taught.
Right. Right. Because I mean, that's the fear. And then I want to talk back on religion a little bit on this level too, when it comes to kind of saying, hey, believe, and which is nothing wrong with believe, but it's so much. Sometimes it's so much focus on that everything is going to be all right and everything is be okay, and that's why I think it can sometimes used against us, because as I say, power and all that kind of stuff that earlier, it's almost like being civic leader, and I'm not talking about any particular person at this point, but I'm just talking about the experiences and the times that I've went. If you had someone who had that knowledge, let's say, of educating people in that way, and some say, well, that's not his duty, that's not her duty to do that. But if you use some of that power and say, let me give you some right information, and being that you look up to me, you're gonna do it, we would be in a little bit better place.
A lot better place.
You know what I'm saying? But if it's like, everything will be all right, and that's all they say, well, everything will be all right, I'm gonna pray about it, it's gonna be all right, and that's what I need to focus on. That's what a lot of times people do, and they don't do the other part, which is get educated about whatever else they need to do to really, really, get something like that, make something happen, make some change happen, and stuff like that. I just think that focus needs to be a little
Man,
more.
our people don't read enough.
Yeah.
This brother right here, he read book after book after book after book, and he's feeding his mind. We're not feeding our minds, we're feeding our minds with this.
Yeah.
And this is desensitizing us.
Right.
And we get all our information from Google or from Facebook. Some people use Facebook as a doggone news.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Tweet.
So at the end of the day, I mean, like I said, it's in the books. And with this generational wealth thing, man, hey, these people, it's in their mama, they daddy, so that's their way of life. That's how they operate.
Right.
We operate just like I said, on a whole totally different level. We not even they way of thinking is about money.
Right.
It's up here like to the ceiling. Ours is we haven't even scratched the surface of understanding it, the whole big picture. That's what I believe.
And like I said, it does no good to kick a man while they're down, right? And one of my cousins, Askia, he young guy, he took over the hair syndicate out in.
I'm watching.
You know Askia? But yeah, Askia. Shout out to my cuz. He also turned me on to Earl Nightingale, motivational speaker. You know, and like I said, I listen to a lot of motivational speakers too, because one of the things I like about my cousin, he's not afraid to fail.
Mhm.
If he fails full speed. But his success outweighs his failures because he commits.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now he's a barber. His daddy, which is my uncle, is a barber. So, but he doesn't know his biological father. My uncle doesn't know his biological father. So who taught him how to cut hair? My mama's daddy. His stepdaddy taught him how to cut hair, which is my grandfather. He's taken that business to where now he has 2 sons that have taken that business to a whole nother level. Do you understand what I'm saying? The Rothschilds, when they mastered banking in Europe, they kept it amongst the brothers, okay? When it came time for one of the brothers to get married, they said, no, you can't marry an outsider. He married his niece. They think about wealth to where they protect it at all costs. Listen, yes, I love interracial marriages, interracial couples, but there are certain families, regardless of how well that boy run that football, they want to do a clean inspection to either make sure that their daughter is going to control the finances because they know he ain't going to play football every year, or he's going to get a prenup. They're going to let their attorneys look it over before they let their daughter sign it because they know he can't play football forever. Or he's going to be making some great contributions while he's still in the league to their family business. Like, they think it's like...
It's strategic.
It's strategic. Look like, oh, we married for love because that's all we got. They marry because they see the end goal. The end goal is how far are we able to keep this going? And that's how they look at it. But with the Bible and with faith, the Bible teaches to study to show thyself approved. If you are not studying and all you're doing is believing, the Bible says faith without works is dead. All right? You can have faith to move mountains, but if you ain't doing no work, that faith means nothing. And like I said, I don't like to kick people when they're down, but I live this. I'm a first generation preacher. And I made a post today on Facebook about my biological father. Once again, he spent most of my life in prison. I read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. I didn't say I skipped stuff. I said I read it from the beginning to end. The reason why I read it from beginning to end is because my mother told me, your father is the only man I know that ever read the Bible from beginning to end. My mother was impressed by that. So you know what that did? It took me 4 years to read the Bible. And I read every page, every word, every day, 4 years. So my mama knows 2 people that has read the whole Bible. At least 2. Her son being, but like that's, but if she would have said her boyfriend, but because she associated my daddy with the conversation, and she didn't know what she was doing at that time. So, well, if he did, I'm going to do it. And it's the same thing with businesses. You know what I mean? By what you guys do, your children are that more likely to take what you're doing to a whole nother level. Right. Well, what I do, my children are going to be able to take what I do. If they don't even do nothing with martial arts, public speaking, they're going to know how to talk.
Right.
They're going to know how to do a presentation. They're going to learn how to work the crowd.
Right.
Like there's certain, because they're watching their daddy work. Like I said, but if all you do is go see your daddy downtown, in an orange uniform, that's all you know.
Yeah. That definitely is not a good thing. Well, we are getting ready to wrap it up. We have had a great show today. We appreciate our guests. We always thank you for coming out. We ask you to keep tuning in. The show is all about change and talking and speaking on things that people want to talk about that's not, how do we say, ratchet? spit things and good information. So we appreciate you coming. As always, we appreciate you coming. What you got, Tara?
I think you pretty much covered it.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate you for checking out the camp. I was actually working 2 angles on Chris Cannon and also on Candid Poetry, so I've been bouncing back and forth. Hopefully, it hasn't been too spotty with using the laptop as opposed to the DSLR when it comes to this live promotion. But I'm impressed by it. It's pretty good. I get different angles. I did not put cameras all around the room on the live. But I did use the laptop and everything. So we're going to keep doing it. So keep tuning in. We appreciate all the comments. We had a lot of comments today. A lot of people chiming in. It was a couple of people saying, we can get there. Did you see one?
Tanya was commenting.
Did anybody say they like my shirt?
Yeah.
They did. You can get it too. TeamNitroMMA.com. You can get it too.
Plug, Javon.
I got some stuff coming up. Talk about it.
Plug your stuff.
Oh yeah. So we with Rep Your Brand, we have a talent and model casting coming up. We just had to reschedule it to next weekend, next Sunday. It will be at EWC. For more information, you can go on our website, www.repyourbrand.com. That's REPYOBRAND.com. You can also check us out on all social media, Facebook, Rep Your Brand, Fashion and Talent Expo. We have a group page, we have a business page, also Instagram at Rep Your Brand. We also have some more stuff coming up. So at the end of the day, just want to let y'all know, for this year, our theme will be Journey to a Cure. We are supporting the First Coast Lupus fight again this year, and our goal is to raise $5,000 for the First Coast Lupus fight. We are also supporting a few other causes, which are autoimmune diseases which have no cure. HIV/AIDS, lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, Graves' disease, multiple sclerosis. Those will be the 5 causes that we will be supporting and basically raising money for this year at Top Golf. That will be Sunday, November 19th at Top Golf. Hope to see y'all there, man. www.repyourbrand.com. Appreciate you, man.
That's the Saturday before Thanksgiving?
Sunday
Sunday
from
before Thanksgiving.
6 to 9. We will have a red carpet event starting at 6.
Okay.
Get your tickets
All right. How do you get tickets?
on eventbrite.com. Just search for Rep Your Brand or Journey to a Cure, the number 2. And get your tickets. We will have VIP. We have sponsorships. We have vendors. Opportunities still open. And also, man, we're looking for the hottest models and hottest talent in the city. So if y'all can make it up, EWC next Sunday, the 17th. Hope to see y'all there.
All right. Well, there you have it. So I got cameras all over the place.
Yeah.
Over here and over here.
Yeah.
I got one right in front of me, baby. So I'm like looking at the TV. Looking at the thing. So anyway, thank everyone for tuning in. We appreciate you. We're gonna check y'all later on. All right. Have a great.
I ain't got to plug what I do.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. Listen, Deshaun Nitro Nix, pastor, cage fighter, motivational speaker, family reunions, your church event, youth. Listen, I'm the guy. I'm Mr. You Can Get It Too. I speak on all levels to all people. My goal is to empower all. All right. I want to leave this world better than what I found it. So I believe climb higher, dig deeper, be greater. Every social media site, hashtag You Can Get It Too.
Nitro.
Nitro.
Deshaun Nitro Nix.
Shirts are available too. If you like the shirts, you can get one.
Oh, we got a breast cancer awareness team that to come soon.
Matthew McConaughey?
Oh man.
Go to hashtag. What hashtag?
I just
I want to see if it work. I want to see if it work. Like I always say, it, hashtag. You can get it too. Hashtag. You gotta spell it too though. I saw how you spell rep. There it is right there. You can get it too. Pull that up right there. I better be number one. Bam! That's me right there. That's this morning. Yeah, that's me. Yeah, send me. I see your stuff. My battery went dead.
We got you, bro.
Because I have to. Yeah, I did I teach youth martial arts. These are my kids.
And we
right
out.
That's what's up.
The dudes came and checked me out. So that's my profile picture.
Gotcha.
So what's going on at EWC next Sunday?
We got the talent casting, the modern talent casting.
What talent are y'all looking for?
All forms of talent. We don't. That's the thing. The unique thing about our event. We do everything from, of course. Registration fee $25 to register. But it is perks that come with it. But with this particular event, since it's a fundraising event and since it's at Top Golf, every person has to be accounted for. So each person that will be there will actually have their food and drinks included. So that's one thing amongst a lot of other promotional.
I mean, you just said that.
Yeah, you should say that.
Yeah.
Eat it, Top Golf.
Yeah, because like I said, I do a lot of stuff in the community. Every day I'm in the community. I'm talking and tagging.
Right.
I'm doing everything all the time.
So I mean, once you go ahead and accept my friend request or whatever, I'll add you to the pages or whatever. So
Now I already hit like on one of your pages.
Alright, that's